يا معشر الجن والإنس إن استطعتم أن تنفذوا من أقطار السماوات والأرض فانفذوا لا تنفذون إلا بسلطان.
Welcome back everyone. Today I will recap a 2023 Indonesian horror movie Hidayah or Guidance. Before we start, please like and comment on the video as it will help us grow our reach. The movie begins in Mekarsari Village, where we see some people burying a girl in a grave. Ustad Bahri removes the shroud from her face, and then the weather turns bad there and it starts raining. Bahri tries to get out, but due to the mud, he slips and falls on the dead body. He tells Hassan that they have to finish burying her today, after which he starts reading prayers and prays for the peace of her soul. However, that night, we see the hand of that girl coming out of the grave. 4 days earlier, we see that Bahri works as a car mechanic in Jakarta, and he gets surprised to see his childhood friend Hassan visit him. Hassan says he heard he was released from prison, but he knows he is a good person, to which Bahri says it doesn't bother him anymore as no one cares about him anyway. He then asks him how's Mekarsari Village, to which he says that's what brought him here and he hopes he can come home with him. Bahri asks him what happened, to which he asks him does he remember Ratna, and tell him that she came back home and now she is very ill. Bahri asks him what sickness she has, to which he says no one knows, but she is bedridden ever since she got home and she starts screaming in pain every day at 6 in the evening. Bahri asks him why they need him, to which he says he is their only hope. Bahri tells him that he is not the same that he used to know, so he can't offer anything to the village. Now while leaving, Hassan says he still hopes that he changes his mind, to which Bahri tells him to give his regards to everybody there. Later that night, while Bahri was sleeping, we see a pocong coming towards him, and it stands upside down right above him. However, when he wakes up, there is nothing there. He then tries to sleep again, but only then he hears someone calling him for help. He gets up and comes out of the garage following the voice and gets shocked to see Ratna there in a car tied up with chains. She requests him to help her, but only then she gets pulled away and disappears. Seeing all this, Bahri changes his mind and leaves for the village, and we see that a car accident has happened on the way. The next day, we see Ratna's mother Hesti trying to feed her when someone knocks on the door. Asep tells her that he is here on behalf of the village people, and if she can't take care of her daughter, then just kill her. Hesti tells him that he is going to have a baby soon. Does he want someone wishing his baby to die? Asep gets furious and tells her to hang herself and Ratna just like her husband did. Only then Ratna begins screaming and Hesti goes back inside to her. Later that night, Bahri reaches Mekarsari Village and Hassan gets overjoyed to see him. Bahri says he wants to help Ratna the best that he can. Hassan asks him if is he heading to the pesantren, to which he says yes, as he wants to see Abah Kai. We then see him with Abah, and he tells his wife Fatima to make fry fish and sour soup for Bahri. Bahri says he still remembers his favorite food, to which he says he will never forget anything about him, although he thinks he has changed. Abah says his old room is still empty, so he can sleep in his room tonight. He then begins coughing and says if he was not this sick, he would help Ratna and also the rest of the village. The scene then shifts to the past, where we see Bahri with Ratna and she tells him that her dad wants him to teach readings in the new students class. Only then Asep comes there and sits between them, and he begins flirting with her, so she leaves there saying she has a class to attend. Back to the present, Abah asks him what's wrong, to which he says his life is ruined because someone spread lies about him, and everyone he knows does not want to know him anymore. They said he caused the death of one of the patients he treated. Abah says that life and death are controlled by fate, so his patient's death was not his fault. Bahri says his mother's heart was broken, and it affected her health, and she died while he was still in prison, and they didn't even allow him to attend her funeral and bury her. Abah tells him to be strong and just let it go, and asks him when was the last time he prayed. Bahri says he hasn't stopped praying since he was a kid, so why did all this happen to him? Abah says he can't change his past, but can only hope that God has beautiful plans for him, and he is sure that everything happens for a reason. He then asks him what the real reason for him to come back here, to which he says he wants to help Ratna. He then visits Ratna's house with Hassan, and he asks Hesti about her. She tells him that since she got home, she hasn't spoken at all, but she hopes someday she will speak again. She requests him to help Ratna, even if that means she is going to die, so be it, because it breaks her heart seeing her like this. Bahri says he will try his best, and only then Ratna begins screaming and crying in pain. Bahri goes to see her, and gets terrified seeing that her body is rotting and maggots are coming out of her wounds. He runs out in shock and Hassan asks him what's wrong, to which he says he can't. Hassan calms him down and says the Bahri that he used to know does not give up like this, and he asks him to ask his heart and it will tell him what to do. He then says he thinks his presence here would disturb him, so he will pick him up later tonight. Bahri goes back in there, and Hesti asks him if can he help them. He then sits beside Ratna, and she extends her hand towards him. Bahri holds her hand and asks Hesti to bring him a bowl of warm water. He then begins reading prayers and asks her to pray with him. She tries to do so, and after a while, she falls asleep. Now in the night, Bahri notices that his prayers are not working, so he decides to perform an exorcism on her, and we see Ratna's reflection inside the mirror, who tries to come out and starts screaming. After some time, Bahri stops reciting prayers and Ratna becomes calm and closes her eyes. Seeing this, he gets scared and goes out to call Heli, and we see that Ratna is now completely possessed. Now when they both come in, they get shocked to see that Ratna is not there. They start looking for her in the house and Bahri tells Hesti to search at the back. Soon after she leaves, Ratna appears right next to him and blows out the lamp. Hesti comes back and lights the lamp and tells him that she can't find her at the back. Only then he sees Ratna outside the window, so they both come out of the house looking for her. Suddenly he notices her sitting on the roof and Hesti asks her to come down, but Ratna begins laughing and jumps on Hesti to attack her. Hesti faints, and when Bahri tries to get her off, she pushes him back. He tells her to wake up and that he knows she is still in there, but she says she is dead and everybody else he has treated. She then tears her cloth and asks him if is this what he wants. Bahri asks her to pray to God, but Ratna sits there and begins moving towards him saying his faith is too weak and stop acting like he is holier than them. She then tries to strangle him, and we see Abba in the house reading prayers. Bahri then begins reading prayers too, causing Ratna to get a shock and she falls down. Hesti also gains consciousness and she finds that Ratna is free from Jinn, but soon after, she dies. Now the next day, when her dead body is being taken for burial, the people of the villages say that her body smells awful. Bahri tells them to stop and then asks Al to hold the coffin and keep walking, and he tells Hesti that he will be right behind her. Burhan and his friends block his way and tell him that the people wouldn't like it if he buried her body in their cemetery as it's going to desecrate their village. To which Bahri says Ratna is going to be buried next to her father and she has the right. We then see the starting scene of the movie where Bahri and others are burying Ratna's body in the cemetery. Later that night, while Hesti was reading prayers, suddenly Ratna's photo falls down from the wall, and meanwhile, we see her hand coming out of her grave. On the other hand, we see Asep's pregnant wife Yanti drawing water from the well, but she gets shocked and falls down seeing a snake in the bucket. She tries to get into the house and notices someone standing behind her. However, when she looks back, there is no one there. She then tries to get up and gets terrified seeing Ratna's ghost behind the curtain, and we see Ratna's half body out of her grave. The next day, Dadang comes to Asep, and here we learn that his baby is stillborn. Dadang blames Bahri for this because Burhan told him not to bury Ratna in this village, but he didn't listen. Asep says he won't let him get away with this, to which Dadang says he agrees. Meanwhile, Bahri asks Hassan what happened to Ratna after he left the village, to which he tells him that after he left for Jakarta, her father was drowning in debt, so he got desperate and hanged himself. They then turned to harass Ratna and her mother, and then Ratna went missing, but after that, her mother started paying back their debts to people in the village. They then visit Burhan, who tells him that since he returned to this village, he has created so many problems. He tells him that he worked in a nightclub as a bouncer, and he saw Ratna working there. She was very popular in that club, and her customers were rich people, and she even shared her tips with him to shut his mouth. Bahri asks him then what happened to her, to which he says she got sick and retired, maybe she didn't take care of herself and let those men not use protection. Later that night, Burhan hears someone calling out his name from outside. He goes out to check following the voice, and we see Ratna there behind a tree. Burhan begins to leave but stops hearing the voice again, and this time he was too scared. However, when he looks towards the tree, there is no one there, but then he notices Ratna standing behind him, and when he tries to look behind, she starts moving and calls out his name. She then suddenly appears right next to him, due to which he gets terrified and runs away from there. Later, we see Dadang coming from somewhere when suddenly he finds his bike heavy, and he gets shocked to see Ratna sitting on his bike, but when he stops the bike, there is no one there. He gets terrified and challenges her to show herself, and Ratna appears in front of him as he leaves there. Meanwhile, Burhan gets terrified seeing Ratna instead of his wife on the bed, and she asks him if he is okay. She then begins laughing, and Burhan asks her to forgive him. Now when his wife comes to the room, she gets shocked to see that he has hanged himself, and in no time there is an uproar in the entire village that Burhan is dead. On the other hand, Hesti goes to the cemetery, and she gets shocked to see Ratna's half body out of her grave. She also finds some offerings there which she angrily throws away. After that, she covers her grave with cloth from all sides and requests God to forgive her daughter's sins. Later that night, one of the villagers gets possessed, and when Bahri tries to help him, suddenly the girl standing nearby also becomes possessed. Bahri asks others to hold him down and keep praying, and when he goes to help that girl, she pushes him down and calls him a hypocrite. Only then does another guy also gets possessed, and Bahri runs to him to help and asks everyone to keep praying. The first guy then pushes him down, and Bahri sees that the three of them are coming towards him angrily, and the girl tells him that his prayers won't work on them. Bahri asks everyone to recite Al-Fatiha together, and soon after, the three of them become unconscious. A guy then comes to him and tells him to go see Abba, and when he comes there, Abba hands him over his prayer beads, and then he reads his last prayers before dying. Now the next day, during Abba's funeral, Dadang and Asep with some other villagers call Bahri out, and when he comes out, Asep says that the village people already know what has happened in the Pesantren. Fatima requests them not to make a scene and respect Abba, to which Dadang apologizes to her, but tells her that Bahri should leave this village. She asks them to stop bullying him, but Bahri says he should better leave, and it's not because he fears them, but to respect Abba. Meanwhile, a guy brings a girl to Ratna's grave, and then he runs away from there, and she gets terrified seeing Ratna's half-body out of the grave. Later that evening, Bahri finds that girl crying on the bus, and he asks her if she needs help, to which she says she wants to leave this village as soon as possible, as they had been so cruel to her friend Ratna. She then tells him that her name is Lisa and she used to work with Ratna in the city. Burhan also worked in the same club and used to harass her, and Ratna was using some charms to get success in this work. Bahri asks her if she knows who put those charms inside her, to which she says she told her it was Burhan's friend from this village, and the charms needed animal blood as a sacrifice, initially from chicken, and later on from a goat, and it kept escalating until it finally required the sacrifice of someone she loved, but the only one left was her mother, so she refused the sacrifice and eventually she got sick and left for home. Bahri returns to his village, where Jilang and Asep ask him why he is still here, to which he says he only wants to clear Ratna's name because he knows she was not the only one who's guilty here. Asep hits him and knocks him down, and when they both try to hit him more, he fights back and knocks them down and asks Asep who inserted the charms in Ratna's body. Asep takes Dadang's name, and only then Hassan comes there and Bahri tells him that it was Dadang who put the charms in Ratna's body. They then both visit Dadang's house, and Bahri tells him that this is too dangerous, so let him handle this alone. He then enters the house taking God's name, but gets shocked to see black magic stuff there, and then Dadang comes there from behind and knocks him down. Now here Dadang reveals that Ratna was too greedy and always wanted more, so she put charms on every part of her body, and when the bill came to her door, she refused to pay. He says once they sign a contract with the devil, they are going to pay till the end of time. He used her to spread fear in the village, and fear will make them forget their God, and it will be easier for him to draw them away from God. Many more will sell their souls to the devil and his black magic will gain powers. Now before he could kill him, Bahri suddenly wakes up and stops him and pushes him back. After this, a scuffle starts between them and Dadang overpowers him, but Bahri manages to hit him and knocks him down. Now when he comes out, he finds Ratna there. She thanks him, and only then he hears Dadang's house falling out and she disappears from there. The next day, the villagers again properly bury Ratna, and Bahri says may they all leave a healthy life and full of blessings from God. Later, 2 police officers come to him and ask him where they can find Hassan's family. He tells them Hassan leaves alone, to which he informs him that Hassan was in an accident. He was in a coma and a few days ago he died in the hospital. Bahri asks him which Hassan he is talking about, to which he shows him his driving license, and here we learn that the accident that happened on the way that day was Hassan's car, and for so many days Hassan's soul was with Bahri and was helping him. Bahri tells them that he is Hassan's relative and if they don't mind, could they deliver his body here to Pesantren. After they leave, we see Hassan standing behind him, and he says thanks to Hassan, and the movie ends here. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon never to miss new video updates. Thanks for watching.